Hi, I'm Autonomous Maximus, and welcome to my show. Today, we are going to be talking about Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell? Ghislaine Maxwell? I'm an American, so I don't know how to pronounce her name, but you know who I'm talking about. Ghislaine Maxwell and Leon Black, who is a former CEO of a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund called Apollo Global Management. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, baby. First, a little background. So let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein is that name that nobody wants to talk about, but that's why we have to keep talking about it. This is why people need to keep speaking about it. Jeffrey Epstein, the notorious rapist, pedophile, and Ghislaine Maxwell, his girlfriend, who aided and abetted him trafficking children, all right, of all ages. We're talking anything from 5 all the way up to, adults who just, they knew they could take advantage of and rape, get them alone on that island. And actually, that's where Leon Black comes in. Leon Black, he was a very, very prestigious hedge fund manager at Apollo Global Management. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I'm gonna little bit of the backstory. Most people won't talk about this, but the conspiracy theory is right, because I use that because I can't really pull up a lot of proof because it's really difficult to pull proof up of things like this. But most people in the know believe that Jeffrey Epstein was a spy. Jeffrey Epstein was most likely a spy for either Mossad or the United States or anywhere in between. Honestly, it was probably Mossad. Not now, of course, trigger warning. But the fact of the matter is Israel is one of the highest donors to American political campaigns. They also have huge stakes in American policy. And a long time ago, I had this video. It was a news broadcast from Fox News of all people, that exposed this anomaly. Apparently, there's this communications hub that all of the alphabet agencies, particularly the FBI, use in order to do intercommunication between agencies, between themselves, to pass on information. So there's this hub that's being used now. Of course, it's not a government controlled hub, but it's a hub actually controlled by the Israeli government. And there's a big internal debate in the FBI, right? As of when I watched it, that was a while back. But there was a real huge internal debate on whether or not this was actually going on, because apparently there was a senator that he purchased like a clock, or he purchased something. Now, you can't hold me to all these details because honestly, it's been a while. But he purchased a clock, or he purchased something from these local vendors that were the Israeli owned, and from these students. They were mostly students. And as soon as this bug was found, it got sent through this hub about what was going on, and then all of the local shops in the area up and vanished. They up and disappeared. So that means somehow the people who put the bug inside the instrument that was purchased, it was students, that was purchased by the senator. Somehow they knew that the FBI was instantly onto them. And this all ties back to Israel. This all ties back to Israel. So Israel is one of the we give them boatloads of money. They have a lot of, they're one of the top they have the top lobbyists in Washington D.C. Right. So so a lot of conspiracy theorists believe that Jeffrey Epstein is a spy from Mossad in order to keep American senators and American politicians, American famous people, famous elite people, keep them in line and keeping the money flowing through to Israel. Which, from an Israeli-centric point of view, I mean, makes sense, right? The United States is your big brother, literally in all senses. We gave Israel their nukes. Come on, we know they have nukes, right? Let's be real. So we gave Israel their nukes. We gave them the Iron Dome defense system. We give them weapons allotments, and we give them money. Every year we do this. All right. So because they are in a hostile neighborhood, don't get me wrong, they're in a hostile territory. But if the United States pulled support for Israel, that would be devastating for Israel, for their defenses. So, I mean, it makes sense that they would do stuff like this. But, I mean, that's what's going on. So, a lot of the conspiracy theorists believe that Jeffrey Epstein is a spy. And he does honey traps, right? So, he goes out and he hobnobs and he gets to know these people. And he gets them in compromising situations, and he records them and he blackmails them. To this day, they can't or they won't explain a lot of the things around Jeffrey Epstein, like the fact that he got an island. He didn't have a job, but he had an island. He had lots of cars. He had all his money was coming in from lots of wealthy people, like what's his name? The Les. We're gonna get to that a little bit later, but the Victoria's Secret mogul, Les Wexner. And as you'll see, actually, we're gonna get into his actual black book. His black book has been published. His actual Lolita Express. See, that's set to. Well, you know what? Let's just get into it. All right, so. Fox News 19 published as of the 18th. Federal judge has ordered documents related to deceased convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and his associates to be unsealed. A decision on Friday, November 18th. Judge Lolita Preska. Excuse me, I might be butchering that, but Judge Lolita Preska ruled several documents filed in a defamation case against ex-Epstein handler and lover Ghislaine Maxwell to be released amid objections they would harm the reputation of the peoples named in the documents. At first when I read that, I thought, there's nobody there's no reasoning behind that. Like, harm their reputations? Oh, no. Listen, we need to know who those pedophiles are. There's nobody in there that has any excuse. We need to know every single name. Every single person has the right, especially the level that this reaches. Because we all know, let's drop some of these bombs out there that we know for a fact. I say fact in the conspiracy theorist sense, but let's look at some of the high low hanging fruit. Prince Andrew, yes, Prince Andrew, and if you ask the British people, most of them, that's like that's the secret everybody knows but nobody talks about, Prince Andrew and a lot of the royals are pedos and diddlers. And they already know it. It's the underground. They already know it. Just like we all, like us Americans, the underground secret to all of our politicians. We all know they're completely lying, right? We all know they're lying. But there are those fanatics who have that grasp, who believe, oh, no, this one's This one's telling the truth. But the fact is even if you dig through their bullshit, what do they call that? When you're when you have high thoughts, oh, you know what? I just realized something. Hold on. Oh, that is hilarious. When you have don't worry about that. I'll try to cut that out. When you have when you have you know, when you fall in love with your... Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. When you fall in love with your captor, you have you know what? Now it's going to bother me. And I'm just going to keep taping because... You know what? This is the behind the scenes that everybody wants to see. Fall in love with your captor. Stockholm Syndrome! Oh, duh. Alright. Nobody accused me of a brainiac. Hey, freedom. Silence. That is my dog. Stockholm Syndrome, okay? Most people who refuse to believe or acknowledge the widely known, yet not talked about fact that all politicians are lying to us, it's because they suffer from serious Stockholm Syndrome. Anyway, so Preska determined public interest outweighed the privacy rights of the 8 John Does named in the documents. Oh, I love this. All right. One of the 8 individuals is Tom Pritzker, a billionaire executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels, who said the release of documents connecting him to the controversial financier would cause reputable harm, according to insiders. Yeah, no kidding. No freaking kidding. Yes, it's going to do you irreparable harm, but it's not, but it's well justified irreparable harm. Tom Pritzker flew on the Lolita Express, so we got one. Hey, we got one. One of the 8 individuals, Tom Pritzker, Hyatt Hotels. Tried to say, hey, don't do it, and they did it anyway, baby. All right, let's keep going. Individual named Doe 12 in documents remained sealed, as they were not a contributor of their abuser or a victim, Epstein or Maxwell. The judge said, okay, somebody extraneously, somebody kind of on the outskirts. I don't know. What could that be? That could a flight attendant, right? Or let's see, an airplane pilot, right? But no. If you're an airplane pilot for him, I mean, I think that's important to know who that is. I want to know who the pilot is to the pedophiles. We need to know who doesn't ask that questions of who they fly around. I mean, we should know these in an extraneous way, even if you're flying for a pedophile. You're still, you're not guilty of pedophilia, all those, but you are guilty of aiding and abetting at least. I mean, stupidity. We can't let you off because of stupidity. Okay, I've got a friend. All right, let's equate this. Let's bring this down to real life. Well, real life. This is real life, unfortunately. Let's take this situation, right? You're a carpenter, right? I have a friend. He's a carpenter, and we got in this debate because of Family Guy. Everybody watches Family Guy, right? And they had this very interesting moral conundrum. So you're a carpenter, right? And you get hired to put in all of the shelves and all of the everything in the bathrooms, right? You get hired for the bathroom work and the kitchen works of the Death Star, right? You do. And then Luke Skywalker comes and blam, 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 and blows everything up. You know, and you died. Were you really a victim? I mean, you were putting in toilets in the Death Star, man. You knew what the Death Star was for. I mean, I know it's a fat government contract. You know, they're like, hey, bro, this is gonna put your company on the map. You're gonna get all of the decks on the friggin' Death Star. The fact of the matter is, you still don't get you're still gonna get hit by those bullets. You know what I'm saying? You're still in that orbit. We should still know who you are, and we should still say, hey, don't fly planes for pedophiles. Just don't. This is where we draw the line, people, and we have to draw the line. We got to know. All right. So then we got Judge Preska ordered documents related to Doe 28 to remain sealed, as well as the individual is a victim of sexual assault who continues to experience trauma as a result of these events. I agree with that. Absolutely. No, if this is a victim, my heart goes out to you. Our hearts go out to you. Okay? Let's keep Doe 28. Let's keep that one locked down. And that's absolutely... I get that. I didn't even dawn on me, you know what I mean? I just thought they would all be out screaming like I would. I mean, I don't know. Sexual assault is difficult. It's one of the most difficult... It's one of the worst things that can ever happen to an individual. It needs to be taken with respect and seriousness. It doesn't mean you believe all. But it does mean that you give each individual accusation the attention it rightly deserves. So we'll continue. Judge Preska ordered documents related to Doe 183 to be made available, as well as they were subject of intense media coverage, but intentionally delayed the release until November 28th. Wait a minute. Okay. So subject 28, so that the individual had the option to appeal her decision. That's interesting. So what we're looking at is, what it says, 28th? Or is that just 28th? But intentionally delayed the release until November 28th. So by the time you see this, the documents related to Doe 183 to be made available as well by November 28th. So by the time you see this, those may or may not be released by now. So it may come in a trickle, it may come all at once. So as soon as I figure it out, I'll let you know. But let's continue on, because we've got to understand what actually happened, okay? We really have to put all of this in context. And I think Leon Black, this case with Leon Black is not bad. I think this is, I know for a fact, I say fact as in the conspiracy fact. But it's easy to see that this is the very, very, very tip of a very, very much, is of a very large, of a humongous iceberg. Because when I go through the names that were in his black book, just damn. And we already know a lot of them, but we'll continue. So Leon Black Financier accused of raping a woman inside Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan townhome in 2002 is going to civil court. And the reason why it's going to civil court is because it in New York, criminal court has certain statutes, but they were able to at least make it available, some form of litigation for people who have been victims, and they open that wide up. So there's no statute of limitations now in New York for victims of sexual crimes to sue their accused, sue their assailant. I'm not sure if that's a word. Let's continue. All right, anyways. Along with Black, Epstein's estate and its executors are also named as defendants. Black stepped down as CEO of Apollo Global Management amid scrutinies in his ties with Jeffrey Epstein more than a year and a half ago, March 2021. He has faced lawsuits from 2 women since that time, the earlier being a still active case by a Russian model named Gazelle Geneva. I screwed that all up. But from a Russian model. The latest case comes from the same law firm whose client Sherry Pearson says she was a single mother from New Jersey pulled into Epstein's orbit. The attorney, Jenny Christine, credited Pearson's ability to step forward with her allegations of New York's passage of a new law removing the statute of limitations. That's the statute of limitations I was talking to. And that's the only reason a lot of this is coming out is because, I mean, if all you can get is money, fine. It's not even money. It's the validation that you were raped, that you were assaulted. You can't put anybody in jail, fine, but at least you can say, he is a rapist, she is a rapist. I have proof. They have been convicted now it's a lower statute, it's a lower form of incrimination. There only needs to be it's just not same proof as criminal court, but I think for a lot of these victims that can really help. But really honestly, we need to do something about the people who did this. We can't just let them work. We just can't. And this is a hedge fund manager responsible for billions of dollars. Thanks to the passage of the Adult Survivors Act, survivors of sexual violence like our client, Miss Person, can seek justice they deserve no matter how many years ago their trauma was suffered, said her attorney. They filed a 30-page complaint with graphics detailing the event that happened more than a decade ago. Black's brutal attack took place in a secluded and private area where no one could see Black or hear Miss Parsons scream, the complaint says. Person claims that after she suffered financial setbacks and with credit cards, a Ukrainian woman offered to introduce her to a rich man, then passed on her number to a woman with a British accent, whom now she has identified as Ghislaine Maxwell. So wait a minute. There's a Ukrainian woman who gave her Ghislaine Maxwell's phone number. Let's find that Ukrainian woman. And then passed her number to a woman with a British accent. Yeah, let's find that Ukrainian woman. Though Maxwell, Parson claims, she was through Maxwell. Through Maxwell, Pearson claims, she was introduced to Epstein, whom she quoted describing himself as a massage slut. Prosecutors say that Epstein ran a pyramid scheme of abuse where he paid girls and young women to massage him and received a finder's fee to recruit others like them. Kind of reminds me of that whole NXIVM recruitment thing with that very adorable Allison Mack with NXIVM, all of those women in that sex cult. Parsons' lawsuit mirrors that story, and she said that Epstein made a vulgar and disgusting remark to her after the September attacks on the World Trade Center that stood out in her memory. So he wasn't a nice man, making fun of the World Trade Center when it fell. Specifically, Epstein began talking about how bad it was for foreign models who had to come for Fashion Week and now couldn't leave. wait a minute. We were hit by 2 planes and his first reaction was, those poor models! Those poor models! They came here for Fashion Week, now they can't leave because 2 giant planes toppled 2 giant buildings and now we're in the middle of a giant war. He said that the modeling agency had stranded these women with no help or money, disgustingly. Epstein remarked that these young girls, mostly teenagers, were in such dire financial straits that they would take $100 to get fucked up the ass. Excuse me, I should have not said that. I forgot it was in the article, and I will bleep that out. I will try and bleep that out. Oh my God. See, you have to know what these people are thinking to combat what they're thinking, to understand that these are sick people. This is so disturbing. When Person gave messages to him, she said Epstein masturbated. Oh, massages. I'm a little dyslexic, people. Gave massages to him. She said Epstein masturbated and wanted her to perform oral sex on him, but she refused, she said. Well, yeah. According to the lawsuit, Epstein seized upon Pearson's ambition to open a skincare line by introducing her to black. All right. So far, Epstein is jerked in front of her masturbating. And that's where we're at. Okay. Wanting to please the wealthy businessman who Epstein claimed was inclined to help her with skincare product, Miss Pearson engaged him in meaningless chit-chat that at one point included commentary by both of them about the artwork on the wall in the hallway, the lawsuit states. Eventually, they had people who had been in the main hallway exit the house, and Black said it was time to go up. And if you haven't seen the artwork in that hallway, it was all of Epstein's house. I can't tell you what the artwork was per se in that hallway, but I know all of his entire hallway is filled with, all his artwork is sex and real grotesque, nasty, grotesque pedo stuff and sexual positions. And and he has that very famous, but I think that's in the one of the main living rooms. But he's got that picture of, or he's got that painting of Bill Clinton wearing the dress. Which, honestly, I want that. I really, that's the only piece of artwork I've ever seen that I thought, that's weird as shit, twisted. I want that. I really would like that because I don't like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is a disturbing individual. Describing herself as powerless to escape what the lawsuit estimates as a 6'4", 300-pound financier. Pearson accused Black of a heroin attack. Yeah, you see him. He's a big dude. He's a big, heavy, fat dude, and he's definitely. You can definitely tell he's strong. I'll include a picture somewhere, but he's a big dude. He's huge. Definitely much bigger than her at 125 pounds and 5'8" and in his totally physical control, Miss Person had no ability to escape the physical power of Black's massive body, the lawsuit states. Yeah, plus she was on the island. I mean, where was she going to go? Where was she going to go? When Black then placed his mouth on her vagina and began biting her. That's hard to read. Ms. Pearson experienced excruciating pain with the top of her head piercingly inches above the ground and her legs bound. Wow, this is hard to read. I'll be real. Not just because I'm not a great reader, but it's hard to think about. You know what I mean? You know what? Let's fast forward. She had no idea what exactly he was doing to her to cause the tearing pain she felt on what... Very horrible things happened, Miss Pearson. I'm passing forward. Attorney claims. Black's attorney, Susan Estridge of Estridge Golden LLP, depicted the lawsuit as an extortion effort. An extortion effort. You know what? And this is the third? Did I read that right up there? Was that the third? Hold on, let me go back. Third lawsuit? No. That's called a pattern. There's a pattern. The latest allegations from the Wigner firm are categorical false and part of a scheme to extort money from Mr. They're claiming she just wants money and baseless and blah, blah, blah. The federal judge previously dismissed a lawsuit by Black alleging a plot to destroy his reputation. You gotta love these people. You gotta, love them. I mean that sarcastically, of course. The ego, the giant ego trying to destroy your reputation. Screw your reputation, Black. You're a rapist. I know alleged in the courts, but hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein in his house, everything, this all just rings completely true. It just does, especially if there are multiple lawsuits against you. Sorry, bro. Especially if your name finally comes out on the official Lolita Express manifest. Yeah. So Epstein had this guy in his pocket. So now, this is how, Epstein had all his money. This is how Epstein had his island. This is how Epstein did what he did, was he had this people and liked them in his pocket. I bet you Epstein had this whole thing videotaped, and I bet you he had proof so that he could get whatever he wanted whenever he wanted, because that's what spies do, and that's the only thing that adds up to where he gets his money. And it doesn't say here, this is going back a little ways, but when Jeffrey Epstein was officially convicted of being a pedophile in 2005, it was absolutely absurd. Basically, they gave him this bullshit sentence for a year and a half, and he got work release. That means he was gone. He only had to report to jail at night, and then he could leave in the morning. All right? And I don't remember what he was convicted of, but it was pretty gnarly. But the very fact that, like, it was like, we can't stop you from getting convicted, but we can do everything in its power to make sure the conviction isn't bad. Conviction isn't bad. And by the way, actually, you know what? I'm gonna skip ahead now that we're talking about this. Give you a little bit update to Ghislaine Maxwell's and to get a little understanding as to why she didn't open her mouth. Well, guess what? She as of July of this year, she was transferred to a minimum security prison that has hold on. Catch this. Just Ghislaine Maxwell has been transferred to a cushy, low security federal prison in North Florida to serve her 20 years sex trafficking sentence for procuring teen girls to be abused by her late financier Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell, who must wear a uniform of khaki pants and a shirt, can pass the time practicing yoga and Pilates, or she can play flag football, according to the facility's website, because that's what we want. We want these the pedophile, the person helping procure the people. Oh, and by the way, has been accused of pedophilia herself. Oh, of course we don't mind her playing, backgammon with the ladies and hanging out with the crew. That's why she didn't open her mouth. They said, "Listen, there's nothing we can do. You got to go down. Either we Jeffrey Epstein you, either we turn off all the." Look at what they did to Jeffrey Epstein. They put him in a cell with a hardened cop who took hits for money. The camera magically shut off, and the guard magically fell asleep, and then he magically hung himself. They were willing to take the hit to murder him because this is the dumbest story, most retarded plot in the history. Like if you put that on TV as a plot to a show, nobody would watch the show because it's so stupid. Nobody would believe that actually happened, but it did. So they were like, "Listen, we'll take the hit. Or we'll send you someplace cushy for 20 years. Art Kelly peed on a girl and he got 30. Peed on one girl. Although, he's more guilty of much more than that. That aside, he got found guilty of that. And he got 30 years. Ghislaine Maxwell is a noted procurer of teenage girls to be abused. Girls. Multiple. And she has done it herself, and yet she only gets 20 and I'm a minimum security softball having I'm institute I'm a peaceful man, I'm a loving man, and honestly I believe that I dislike our penal system for myriad of reasons, and mostly it's because I believe that people should be rehabilitated and learn how to understand and cope in society, because believe it or not, society is very difficult to cope in. It really is. On a lot of levels, for a lot of reasons, for a lot of people, it just is. And that has to be taught. Some people aren't taught. And I think that you should help people cope and help people learn. A person, in my opinion, on most occasions, should never be judged by the lowest points in their life. We've all had low points in our life. I know I have. I'm not going to sit here as a superior being and tell you that I haven't reached my rock bottom. And I believe that every man, woman, child can be rehabilitated past their low points. That being said, I take umbrage to pedophiles and to rapists, Heck, You can murder somebody and I'll still be like, they might deserve repentance. They might deserve help. But in no way, shape, or form will I ever offer any form of reprieve to pedophiles or to those who procure teens or children for pedophiles. You are just as guilty. You are just as guilty. So Maxwell, hanging out doing 20, playing backgammon. So now we know why she didn't get suicided, and now we know why she didn't open her mouth. So now let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein's Little Black Book, because most people know that Jeffrey Epstein's, who's actually on the Lolita Express, is going to come out now, right? Now you know, right? But we don't know who's on the book, and most people didn't even realize that his black book existed. But I caution. I hate to say this. I have some caution here, and even though I'm going to go through and talk some smack, I have some caution here, because even though you have somebody's phone number, even though you have somebody's connection, doesn't mean you remotely know them. Like, it's been proven. Like, there's a whole bunch of misinformation. There's this huge thing about like Elon Musk. All right, I'll be real. I don't know where I stand on Elon Musk. There are things I like about him, things I'm not sure I like about him. I kind of question him on. One of his one thing I question Elon on is his Tesla and his battery, and the very idea that his battery isn't good for our planet. It really truly isn't. It's just as bad, and it might even be worse than fossil fuels. We're trading in one form of world, destroying one form of destroying our planet for another. And I'm not sure if Elon realizes that. He doesn't know it. If he's in on it. You know what I mean? I don't know, right? So I'm kind of up in the air. He's a smart man, so he's got to know, right? So, but Elon is a free speech absolutist, which I am also. I am 100% a free speech advocate and absolutist, because the only thing that defeats bad speech is good speech. The only time that you need to tell somebody who's wrong that they are wrong, and this is why. Not that they are wrong and that they can't speak. Because if you tell somebody that they're wrong and they can't speak, their non-speaking becomes power. Their hatred, their anger, their conspiracy, their whatever becomes a form of power. And that's what most people don't understand. And to truly find truth, I welcome all speech. And I welcome hate speech, good speech. I kind of don't even really believe in hate speech. I mean, I believe there's speech that you hate, and I believe there's, degrading speech and horrific speech of saying really horrible things to people. But you know what? We kind of got to let that also have a position and a place in our society, because we are not robots. And people talk shit. And like I said, people shouldn't be defined by the lowest point of their life, and the only thing that defeats bad speech is good speech. I had a friend a long time ago. I did martial arts. I've done martial arts most of my life. And when I was a kid, my school was a very, very mixed school. I would say, honestly, mostly black. My instructor was black. Most of the higher ranks were black. And the instructor is still a brilliant man. And the school was absolutely masterful. It was a school that you really wanted to go to if you really wanted to learn real martial arts. It was a great karate school, and he was a great instructor. And there was this man, and I met him. He was a white guy, an older white guy. And he had his wife and this girl, and he was the stepdad, so to speak, for one of my best friends at the time. One of my best friends, who's still one of my best friends, but who's black, right? Um, Anyways, it wasn't until years later that I found out that before this man that I had met that became my friend, before he had come to that school, he actually was in deep with racists, with Nazis, with KKK, with all of that. He was the genuine deal. If he took off his shirt, he had KKK Nazi shit all over his arms, all over his legs, all over his, he'd been to prison. But I think it's both through martial arts and through the magic of my sensei at the time, and through the magic of this school, that through better arguments, through good people, through good discussions, this man became the stepdad to a black child who desperately needed him, who needed a good father figure, and he was a good father figure. He don't get me wrong, his life turns, and he never goes back to the racist stuff. He has his troubles, but this man, faced with good arguments and good people and good beliefs and understanding, they were able to dissolve his bad beliefs, his bad understanding. Truth doesn't mind being questioned. Only lies do. If somebody tells you you can't question something, question it. Question it even harder. And that's how we defeat racism, sexism, homophobia. All of that is with freedom of speech. And that's how a formerly racist man, deep in it, became a good man who loves people of all races, colors, and creeds. He really, the last time I saw him, he loved tacos. He loved, I'm not stereotyping, but he loved everybody. He learned that he was so mistaken, that the backlash was so hard, that he went from huge racist to lover of all races. Think about that. That's how powerful truth is. That's how powerful free speech is. And that's what happens when good speech meets bad speech. Right? So that's what and so I bring all that to come back to, like, when I caution us to even go through the Lolita Express files. Multiple trips to Lolita Express tells us, more likely pedophile, rapist, blah, 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 right? I mean, they're indicators, but the fact of the matter is we still got to go with caution, with level heads, but at the end of the day, we need to find them and we need to expose every single pedophile on that list. I don't care what their position is. I don't care where in government, in society, they are held up. We need to expose them. We need to out them. And we need to do something about it. And we can, because we are the people. So let's look at the Black Book of some of the potential people we're going to see who flew on the Lolita Express. Unfortunately, I put this one at the very top because I got to admit I'm a little bit on the Trump train, but Donald J. Trump, president, or former president, current, future, he's trying to run for president right now. President Trump is in his little black book. He even called Jeffrey Epstein an awesome dude, an awesome man, and a lot of fun in in an article he did, like 1997. I'm in the bag for Trump in a little bit because the establishment truly hates Trump, and that's what I like. I like that the establishment truly hates him. We need him in office. We need him to fire everybody. We need a total exodus of most of the upper echelons of government. All of the people that don't get voted into government, but who are there by, hire by drudgery and specifically, honestly, we need to get rid of a lot of the alphabet agencies, CIA. Um, I won't go any further than that, but President Donald J. Trump is definitely in his book. He said positive things about Jeffrey Epstein. We know he's not a, but if he's a rapist or a pedophile, his offhanded comments aside, because we know the locker room talk. All right, this isn't. This we're talking reality here, folks. All right, people talk smack when they think nobody's looking. When you're the man, Donald Trump says the craziest shit when everybody's listening and he knows. Imagine the bullshit he talks when nobody's listening. He's a magnanimous individual. That's just his personality. That's also what makes him a great president, by the way, because his policies were great. His policies were fantastic, but his rhetoric was crazy as shit, which always kept our enemies at bay. That's he comes from a certain type of archetype of king that we used to have, where the king seemed crazy but made strategic moves. Because you don't want, frankly, you want your opponents to think you're freaking crazy. You don't want them to think they can even remotely figure out your move in any way, shape, or form. You want to spout crazy shit and then do smart shit. Because people listen to crazy shit. But they often don't see what you do, but they hear what you say. And that's why they're lambasting him, is because they hear what he says. And don't get me wrong, and most of it is filtered through a, let's just put it out there, New World Order media. Most of it is being filtered through fake corporate media that's trying to sensationalize, trying to politicize, trying to, we're not going to get into it. But point is that I like Trump because I think his policies are good. He is kind of a D-bag, but if I do find out he is actually a rapist or a pedophile, let's throw mama off the train. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. He's under it. Gone. I don't accept it in anybody. Bill Clinton. Ha! Bill Clinton. Rumor was Bill Clinton was taking so much Chinese money it wasn't even funny. And rumor was so is his wife. And rumor was those all of those servers that she destroyed were going. All of the information was going directly to the Chinese Communist Party. Rumor was. That's the conspiracy theory train. Although I think it's, on a lot of levels, I think it's true. Rumor was Bill Clinton himself actually started the whole prosecution with Monica Lewinsky because he was trying to avoid a prosecution for taking dark pack money from China. Anyways, we're going to keep going. This is Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book. All right? Prince Andrew, like I said, Britain's Prince Andrew, the royals, the crown, British royalty, has a history of allegations of pedophilia. There was a I saw an article. It was a it wasn't a meme, but it was a meme of an article of a printed article from like the 1940s or 50s about how the Queen, the one that just passed, her and Prince Andrew and somebody else went to a orphanage, picked out 85 children out of the orphanage, and then those children were never seen again. But they're royalty. And I can talk smack about royalty if I want because I'm not there. I think the royalty they're a bunch of parasites. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair. Bill Bill Cosby. Hey, hey, hey. Is in Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. Well, I mean Epstein's neighbor. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have my neighbor's number. Supermarket mogul Ron Burkle, Burkle, R-O-N-B and Ron B-U-R-K-L-E Burkle, Ron Burkle. Chelsea Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, the spawn of Satan. Yeah. Of course, Chelsea Clinton's in there. Dude, she must have had a horrible childhood. Like, I'm almost on the bandwagon that the Clintons are Satanists, and they probably like. Anyways, see, I told you this is gonna get crazy and weird. I have weird beliefs and thoughts, and it's okay. We can all dabble in them because I mean it's according to what I see. It's weird. So, former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, John Kerry, the late Saudi arms dealer Arnon Khashoggi, I can't pronounce that. Rupert Murdoch, media titan Rupert Murdoch. All right, imagine if, all right, Jeffrey Epstein is a Mossad agent. Let's say he's Mossad. And he has Rupert Murdoch under his thumb. Would they really talk? Would they uncover why if Jeffrey Epstein was a spy? Would they? No, of course they wouldn't, because Mossad still has that information, and he's probably still under the thumb. So Rupert Murdoch, he's got multiple news conglomerates under his thumb. I mean, that's wow. All right. Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz. I know that name. We're gonna come back to that. Alan Dershowitz. He's a New York Times writer. Harvard law professor. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Alan Dershowitz. Oh no, Alan Dershowitz was a Harvard professor. Sorry about that. Les Wexner, of course, like I said, from Victoria's Secret. All right. Mort Zuckerman, media mogul, billionaire, and former owner of New York Daily News and the Atlantic. Woody Allen. I mean, think about those names, okay? So if Jeffrey Epstein, oh, I got this. Jeffrey Epstein is Mossad. Look at all of these news outlets he has under his thumb. No, freedom. The Bill Barr. Oh, Bill Barr. Bill Barr. Interesting. Attorney Bill Barr. Bill Barr's father managed to get Jeffrey Epstein a job teaching math at Manhattan's prestigious Dalton School in the 70s. Interesting. So Bill Barr's father got Jeffrey Epstein a job teaching math at the Dalton School in the 70s. Kenneth Starr. Who doesn't know who Kenneth Starr is? The one who investigated the Clintons. That Ken Starr. Steven Pinker. According to Epstein's plane logs, Harvard psychiatry professor Steve Pinker hitched a ride on the Lolita Express in 2002. Roger Skanker, artificial intelligence expert. Let's see what we got. He's actually on Lolita Express. Okay. He's a professor at Northwestern University. Let's see who else we got. Alec Baldwin. Ralph Fiennes, Ted Kennedy, David Koch. That's not Koch. Koch. David Koch. One of the Koch brothers. All right, one of the Koch brothers who, well, they're huge donors. Courtney Love, Bill Richardson. Wait a minute. Bill Richardson, isn't that half from Home Improvement? Bill Richardson. Oh no, he's another politician. All right, good. I was hoping it wasn't the Home Improvement guy. I liked him. Bruce King, British cabinet member Peter Mendelsohn. Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, y'all. Casey Weiserman, the chairman for the organizing committee for the 2028 Olympics. So there you have it. Those are some of the names in his little black book. I don't expect it to get any better. So by the time you're watching this, the names on the Lolita Express, they should be out, or hopefully they're coming out. I'll have some more updates on that. And like I said, what we need to do is think about each and every name on that list and go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Oh, that's why. I remember. So I'm back. Because, you got things like, they keep trying to connect Elon to Ghislaine Maxwell with that photo that she obviously photobombed. I don't think I made that full circle earlier, but I think that's where I was going with that. So that's why we got to be careful, is because Elon Musk got photobombed, and now everybody's like, oh, I see it all over Twitter, because Elon took over Twitter, and Elon don't care. It's a photobomb. It's very obviously a photobomb. But let's not mistake a one-time, oh, this guy is crazy, I need to get out of here, with a, oh yeah, I'm definitely hanging out with this guy more. And I guess this does increase the scrutiny for Trump, because the very fact that he's got to be on the Lolita Express, and if he's on there multiple times, I'm not a hypocrite. I see what that means, and he needs to be just like everybody else, but not just him. You heard the list. Bill Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, Rupert Murdoch, Larry Summers. List continues. And then, and to show to show you how corrupt our entire system is, Ghislaine Maxwell is chilling out for 20 years playing flag football. Something's got to be done about this. We got to keep promoting this. We got to keep talking about this. So if you like it, if you liked what I said, if you liked the information I gave, I promise this will get better. This is a work in progress. Please stay tuned. This is probably my third or fourth, but I will keep progressing. I will keep bringing you the information that I think you need to know, that I think we all need to know, and that I think we really need to talk about. I will not shy away from the weird issues, from the crazy issues, from the issues that really need to be talked about. Because we need more than this mainstream media. So as I As I sign off, I want to talk about one last thing that I want to talk about on most of my podcasts every time it comes up. We need open, free discussion, and we need to talk about Julian Assange. Julian Assange they're still trying to extradite Julian Assange for doing nothing other than printing the truth. Julian Assange, he isn't even a reporter, but his case is so heavily linked, so closely enveloped in the First Amendment, that if we don't keep shouting and keep talking and keep pushing and keep telling people about Julian Assange and now he's still a prisoner in Belmarsh prison, and the United States is still trying to extradite him. And a bunch of journalists actually finally got together and wrote an op-ed in, I think, the Washington Times this week about how the United States should free Assange, and I should stop the attempted extradition of Assange. And I 100% agree. He did nothing but he was just a reporter. He was just a publisher of information. He's been in prison for, oh my God, 10, 15 years. I'm going to get the numbers later, but every day at the end of this, I want to say thank you, Julian Assange. Thank you for your sacrifice. We need you. We need more people like you. And that's why I'm here, is because the good have to step up now. The strong have to say something. The people who want to be left alone, well, we're not going to be left alone anymore, and they're not going to leave us alone. So we have to do something about this. And the only thing we can do is fight for our free speech. So, thoughts and prayers, Julian Assange. And as always, thank you very much. I am Autonomous Maximus. And hopefully I'll see you in the next show.